Hello everyone, I'm Heather. This is Anwen. Say hi.
Hi.
We are on our way to Hay Festival! I'm excited. Road trip to get there, about 2 hours to get there, but we brought sandwiches and snacks. I have coffee. Okay, Hay Festival is a literature festival in Hay-on-Wye in Wales. It is the world's greatest literature festival, in my personal opinion, okay? Because it happens right outside Hay-on-Wye, which is the world's first town of books. Like, I know there are loads of towns of books everywhere in the world now, but you heard it here first, folks. The very first one was Hay-on-Wye. It's just a town made up of nothing but bookstores. Like, new bookstores, secondhand bookstores, poetry bookstores, specialty bookstores, kids bookstores. It's just a shit ton of bookstores, okay? And like maybe 2 cafes. So you walk a bit outside the town, like a 5-10 minute walk outside the town, and in just a farmer's field, surrounded by a gazillion other fields, is this massive tent city that they put up for just the 2 weeks that it's going, for like the end of May, beginning of June, whatever, every year. It's like world renowned, okay? They have massive names there every year. But the main awesomeness about it is just the vibe, okay? It's smack in the middle of a field and is surrounded by fields. The amount of accommodation available in the area that's inside an actual building isn't a lot. It's a tiny town, you know? So the vast majority of the people that are there, they either drove up on the day, which I think isn't a lot of people, or they've camped in the surrounding fields like we do. You know, it's like Glastonbury or like any sort of music festival, like Reading Festival. Like, people come there, they camp, you know, they drink, they have an amazing time, and they just go to this literature festival and see people like, you know, Barbara Kingsolver and Margaret Atwood just get like stuck in. There's bookstores all over the place. Like, there's just loads of cool stuff going on, and the vibe is so chill. Ugh, it's brilliant. We made it! Love it. God, the people that were in this tent before us, the ones that were here last night, like, you're supposed to check out by 10:30 and then check in is from 11, and we got here right at 11. So the guy was like walking us to our tent, and there's like some people trying to get out of it. There's like just like a huge bum just like stuck in the doorway, like pulling, you know, pulling something out. It turns out that they were like really late checking out, or like half an hour is not a lot, like we did show up right on time, but like the people that were in here before were proper ab-fab. Like,
the genius of Jimi Hendrix was that he could stand up at all. He was so pumped full of so many drugs. Exactly. I've choked and died at any second. That was a thrill. Who dies in their own vomit these days? No!
And
like,
I
it was
left
like...
a cigarette in here.
Like, James is fuming. Like, the tent smells like cigarette smoke, and there was like a butt of a cigarette like on the carpet. Oh my god, but these women, they were like, clearly they've been in this tent living their lives, just like on like a bender, like booze, like wine, cigarettes, and they clearly just sort of like woke up at checkout time and were like, shit, and like had to just pull all their crap out. And they had like an actual cart, like a pull cart with like 4 suitcases, like just for the one person, and the other person had like the same amount. Like, they'd packed to go for a week in Mallorca, just like a night in a glamping tent. It was brilliant. I enjoyed it. Anyway, the events that we have booked, they're mainly kiddo events. I think until the Spud's old enough to go to big grown events with me, I think I'll probably be going to kid events for the next couple of years. But I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Like, we've got David Walliams. We've got Jaqueline Wilson. I think Jaqueline Wilson is today. David Walliams is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then there's like craft things, like crafting, and there's like a forest craft thing, and there's like an animation craft thing. It's brilliant. We're gonna go after James finishes his contacts here in a sec. But for tomorrow in the morning, I did sort of like snake in an event for me, like a grown-up event. So I scheduled like a craft thing for Spud and James to go to, while I go to Barbara Kingsolver. What? Wow. So pumped. So excited. I am actually trying to read Barbara Kingsolver's new book, Demon Copperhead, like the massive one that got the Pulitzer. I love Barbara Kingsolver. I love her. I've read loads of her books. I've loved her since high school with Poison My Bible. But my god, the size of this book. I can't do it. I gave up on the book in the end, and now I'm doing the audiobook, and still, like, the size of it is still daunting. Like, I sort of find myself doing like a chapter or so and then putting it down for smaller books. I don't know what it is. It's like a mind block. I never used to have this problem. It's sort of recent. But I hope there aren't too many spoilers in her talk, because I was hoping to have it read before this point. But I feel like it's probably fine. It's fine. Oh fuck, it's another spider. Twm Clwyd says this guy ends up on the inside of the tent before the end of the night. Yeah, I see you. Okay, I'm just gonna jump in here lightly. I'm at home. The festival's finished. But as I'm sort of going through this, I realised I didn't have a lot of time during the festival to give a lot of commentary, okay? So I feel like I'm gonna give you the commentary in snippets from the future, right? So, Jaqueline Wilson, lovely lady, so lovely, sweet. Like, she's got so many amazing books. And, like, I think that talk, there were more people there, basically my age, with, like, nostalgia factor, you know? Like, they loved her books when they were kids, like, in the 80s and 90s. And now they've come to see her. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's what that, like, main audience and main talk was for. So, she's clearly a brilliant writer, really lovely person. But as a speaker at a festival, at a kids event that was labeled for a kids event, like, her books are largely sort of roughly 8 to 12-ish age range. And her event then, you know, was for 8 to 12. So for a person speaking to 8 to 12-year-olds, sorry, what was that? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Jaqueline Wilson. Holy shit. My God, she was boring. Like, she just rambled on about nothing, like her life and her writing style or whatever. And I know that we come for that sort of thing, but I'm not a Jaqueline Wilson fan. You know, her books are for kids. I didn't have her, you know, when I was a kid, so I didn't read any of her books when I was a kid. Like, we've come for her to talk to my kid who does like Jaqueline Wilson books, but she's not talking to my kid. She's talking to, I don't know, me, I guess, about really boring stuff. So that talk, I think, in the end was a bit of a bust. And I was really worried because it was the very first event that we went to, and we went there and my kid was like, Mom, can we go home? And I was like, no! That's not what I want. I want her to be like really excited. And she normally is, because the kid events that we go to are normally banging, super entertaining, and she loves them. But very first event, I nearly lost her whole attention for all of Hay Festival. I was really worried about it. But they did get better. And no, like, not bagging on Jaqueline Wilson at all. We did get a Jaqueline Wilson book from the bookstore because she was talking about it. As she was talking about it, my kid, I could tell she was clearly getting interested. And then we went to the bookstore and she was like, Mommy, can I get this one? And I was like, yeah, we can get that one. So we didn't lose her completely, okay? But Miss Wilson, Jaqueline, you very nearly lost her there, okay, by just being super boring. I feel like you need to talk to the kids next time, not just like the 35-year-olds who remember you from the 80s. Okay, that's it. Okay, so this rooted forest school thing was clearly effing cool. Like, you'd see that it was cool. I think sort of based on this, like, Montessori sort of idea, I guess. I don't really know. But, like, child-led learning, do you know what I mean? Where you don't tell the kids what we're doing now. You just sort of, like, give the kids options, things they can do in, like, a forest environment, you know? Bit of clay, bit of pine cones, you know, bug catcher things or whatever. And then you let the kids decide what they want to do with it, you know? And they're like, what do we do with this? And they go, ooh, I don't know, what do you want to do with it, like that? And sort of reading quite a lot about sort of how it creates out of the box thinking and like leaders, you know, and like kids who adapt well to change versus like the rote memorization and like, you know, encouraging students to do exactly what they're told and when, you know. Reading a lot about that, I thought it was really lovely. I really enjoyed it.
Great.
Are we waiting for Daddy?
Yeah.
He's stuck over in like the old man book section. He won't leave.
I know.
Ready?
made the monster head. I made.
Okay, so this guy here, we'll go over him later to make him darker.
Oopsie.
Okay, he's Fernando, yeah?
I made him.
He lives in caves.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has sharp claws.
Yeah.
He's the king of minor cave demons.
Yeah.
He likes eating people.
Yeah.
He'd watch Stranger Things if he had a TV.
Yeah. I need a couple of each thing.
These are the books we got, right? Get them out. Books for Spud. Twm Clwyd. This is one of the Tom Gates ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's in Welsh, because Daddy likes to read with you in Welsh.
Yeah, because it's Welsh.
But, you know, the Tom Gates ones. These ones. But it's in Welsh. Okay. And then also, this one. The Dark and Dangerous Gifts of Delores MacKenzie. That's like a creepy sort of mystery with like ghosts and stuff in it.
I read the first page and it said, cut heads off.
Ooh.
Let the head fall.
Dark. Love it. Okay, and then also, because we went to Jaqueline Wilson today and she talked this one up, the Other Edie Trimmer. It's like a time slip book with like a girl in modern times. She accidentally goes back to Victorian times. And Jaqueline Wilson has arthritis, which is sad, you know, like our dog, Hank. But she left these so that we can have a signed book anyway, even though she doesn't get to sign it. We'll stick that on. Okay, that's Spud's ones. Then my ones, I only got 2. I've done very good.
Boring.
Okay, first one, Republic by Nerys Walliams. This is like a Wales local one, and I've been eyeing it up for a while. Okay, this one is short stories. Republic is about class, culture, and community in West Wales. It recounts the story of a young woman growing up listening to the post-punk music of the 1980s and indie labels of the 1990s. These decades culminated in the explosion of cool Cymru, cool Wales, and new devolutionary powers in Wales. So that's quite cool. Okay, and then this one, which was part of the Eurovision book contest, the sort of thing between Eurovision and Hay Festival, where they picked a book for each country in Eurovision. This is the one for Croatia. It's basically a road trip from Dublin to Bosnia, or Bosnia to Vienna, I don't know. Catch the Rabbit lays bare the intricacies of female friendships and all the ways in which the ones we love can hurt, love, disappoint, and misunderstand us. I think it looks really cute. I'm down. Jumping between the beds, driving me absolutely nuts.
I'm not jumping.
Oh my. We've just had an emergency bed switch.
Yeah, because there were spiders on our side.
There was literally a spider in our bed. In the fucking bed. In it.
10.
So we've had to switch to the side. All the spiders seem to be on that side. This is wood. Like, if there's a spider in my bed while I'm in it, we're leaving. That's happening. I think I'm traumatized. Finally. I found a spider on our side. It's like the motherfucking birds, man, but with spiders in this place. I've never had glamping before. We've always pitched our own tent. And I think what happens is you put your tent out. It's only up for like 24, 48 hours, maybe, you know, 2 days roughly at most. Doesn't give the spiders enough time to find you. It's glamping. It's pre-pitched. It's been up here for days. You know, since Thursday at least, can be up this whole time. Like the spiders infiltrated. They're everywhere listening to me right now, and they're thinking how they're gonna get me. They're planning their whole assault and how they're gonna do it at nighttime. I know they everywhere.
Please say that for me.
7 Ghosts by Chris Priestley. Jake heard the clapping and took his headphones off, letting them loop round his neck. Yeah. Okay, day 2, going hard. Got David Walliams, right? He's the guy who does The World's Worst Teacher. You think that's funny, don't you? You like that one? Okay. Also, we have Animation Studio. Bam! That's gonna be cool. That's at 10 a.m., which is why we're up at the butt crack of dawn. Don't want to complain about it, but why is something so early? Okay. Also, crafting session. You're gonna make like a jetpack with Daddy, yeah? Well, Mommy goes off and sees Barbara Kingsolver. Also, I did my makeup in the tent. So it's a bit heavy on this side. Why is my nose weird? My mascara's it's a bit weird on this side as well. But I reckon if I stand this far apart, I think most people at Hay Festival read a lot and thus have bad vision. So they won't be able to tell. So I think it'll be okay. The reason we're hanging out in the car, by the way, is because we've already checked out. We've already given our tent over to the next person. But Daddy's having a last minute poop. And it's taken a really long time.
And we can't go back in the tent?
Like, how much time do you reckon we spend just sort of hanging about in our lives waiting for Daddy to finish pooping? We should, like, have a project that we do. We should do the Monster Zine project.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Like, as soon as we start this, Daddy's going to come out. It's going to be the rule, but it should be fine. Okay, so next thing, what do we need now? So we've got a circle and one eye and a nose.
I need a horse ear.
A horse ear. So, like that? Is that how horse ears go? They sort of stand up, don't they? Okay, next.
Feet is a dinosaur foot.
Dinosaur feet. Well, there's loads of different kinds of dinosaurs.
Well,
maybe like
T-Rex.
Like that? Oh, so like snake arms.
Yeah. No, snake hair. No, just do snake arms.
So look through the slit part.
Ow.
As it sort of goes on. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Holy crap, Barbara Kingsolver is amazing. Holy crap, I love her so much. Like, I've loved her books for a really long time, ever since like Poison with Bible, high school, etc. I've read a lot of them, but I've never heard her speak before, like do an interview or anything. And she was just really lovely and super interesting. So the books I'm trying to read at the minute, which is Demon Copperhead. Like, I'm also reading a million other things at once because that's how I procrastinate, reading large books. It's how I do. But now I really want to just finish this one I'm on now and then get stuck in hard into Demon Copperhead, because the way she spoke about it, I 100% just want to dive into that. She said she got the idea. She was staying in Bleak House, this like hotel type thing, in November in England. And it's where Charles Dickens wrote some of David Copperfield, and she sort of sat at his desk where he sort of started to write David Copperfield, and she said she could sort of look out at the landscape he looked out at and feel his anger for like our society and how it ignores and demonizes poverty, you know, especially sort of like the most vulnerable members of like you know, impoverished societies, like the children, things like that, and how it sort of pushed him to write books like David Copperfield. And she also feels that same anger because she lives in Appalachia. I feel weird calling it Appalachia because I'm not actually from Appalachia, so I feel like I should say it like people who aren't from Appalachia would say it, which is Appalachia, but I don't know, it's a situation. But anyway, she lives there. She's from there. She lives there now, and it's one of the poorest parts of America. And we're talking like electricity-less and plumbing-less shacks kind of poverty, you know, not just like urban poverty or whatever. And it's sort of, she sees these people all the time, and she sees how they're being, yeah, just like ignored and also demonized, and how just how regular it is in our society to sort of make jokes about hillbillies and the poorest, most vulnerable members of our society, and just sort of dismiss them as it's their fault that that's how they are. Do you know what I mean? It's their fault that they're poor, and sort of, I don't know, sort of like downplay it and just sort of dismiss it or whatever. But she sort of like wanted to sort of drum up empathy for these kind of people that, you know, rarely get any in our society. She wanted to sort of, she was talking about like this natural wall of otherness, like us and them. So whether we want to do it or not, whether we're doing it consciously or not, we often sort of put up a wall between ourselves and other people who we see as different, or even not that different. Like there's an otherness about them that we recognize, and we put up like a wall of otherness. And she was like, when you read fiction, it like generates empathy, and it removes that wall of otherness. It puts you in the minds of people you would normally be in the minds of, and like their problems are your problems, their people are your people, you know, you are them. And that's true as balls. I say that all the time. I love reading fiction because it makes you such an empathetic person, you know. Even when you're not feeling particularly empathetic, it will just sort of like strike you, you know, sort of like watching people on the road or whatever and thinking, you know, your initial thing is to judge them, and then this empathy that you've built over years and years of reading fiction will just sort of like run up out of nowhere, and now suddenly you feel bad for having judged them so quickly. Like, clearly they have their own problems which are not your problems. Do you know what I mean? And I just loved it. I loved her. Like, her life is so interesting. Her, like, her views and her opinions and everything is so interesting. Oh, I loved that. That was well worth escaping for. Well worth it.
So that's Oliver and Jack. So you're okay with this, Jack?
Clearly this guy was freaking cool. Like, David Walliams. I think I've been like sleeping on the sort of David Walliams train, me. Like, I moved here, you know, only like a bit more than 10 years ago. Like, I didn't watch Little Britain, you know, when I was younger. I've never really seen any of those. Also, I don't really watch the sort of comedy shows he's on, because I'm not really into that kind of TV. Definitely don't watch, like, you know, Britain's Got Talent or like the singing shows or whatever that he judges. I only really know him from the children's books that he does, because this bud and I do like, we tend to like the ones that like the world's worst children and stuff that he writes. But he's funny. He's a cool dude, and I had no idea. And this bud is totally into it. Like, you know, Jacqueline Wilson, who were completely recovered from her snooze fast, because he has just woken everything right up. And afterward, like, this bud desperately wanted to get another one of his books, you know, like, he was talking about Robodog with like, showing us like the dog pictures and everything, and she was well up for that, and she loved it. So, thank God for him. Thank God for David Walliams. He's brought us back. We're back. Okay, we're finally home. Thank God I had to pee. So bad. It was ridiculous. Okay, but here is our final haul. Are you ready? Hold on. Tra-la! I think I talked about most of these, but these two are new since I last sort of said. Okay, that's it. If you're still here, thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts for me, comments, questions, anything, please let me know in the comments. Like, you know, do you think the books I got are good or bad? Because that's also good information to have. Did you see in my vlogging any books that I passed by and didn't get, which I should not have passed by? That's also good information to have. That's about festivals in general. Are there any literature festivals which you go to frequently, which you think I should at some point in my life try to go to? You know, as like a trip or something. Because I love it. I love it! Okay, I will see you, I think, next week? Like this summer, it's like every weekend is like some sort of trip, and I don't know how I made that for myself because I definitely can't afford that kind of lifestyle. But I think I am around next week, so I'll drop in for some sort of thing. I'll figure it out. We'll work it out. Okay. Bye. Bye.